suffer from imposter syndrome. Everything that I've achieved, everything that I get in my life, I don't deserve it.
And husband, Crispy.
And you what, sorry?
You are the most important thing. None of this other shit matters. Unless you are okay. We are going to get emotional.
Getting a bit too then.
You're just saying that, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah. Hello and welcome back to No Business Being a Castano. Today we are joined with my therapist, Stephen Moore.
Hello there.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
When you told me about this, I was
You're in the hot seat right now.
Well, I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle of us too. Yeah.
You're in the hot seat.
He's third wheeling it here.
I'm used to that these days with Amy and Aaron. So, but yeah, I was so for it. I think it's such a I've always kind of wondered on how you became this person you are today, and I always message you. I'm like, Amy, I'm so happy, and I'm intrigued to know how you got to this stage.
You do tell me that you are much more. Like you're proud of me.
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
and you like that in the past. You never did tell me.
No.
So yeah, to hear those words now, it's like, it's really nice to hear.
And that's one thing that you mentioned to me quite often. Like you're just saying that, I'm getting goosebumps from it because I know how much that you love that, hearing that. Over the last few years, you probably third hand saying it, but every time you do send out that support, it's just really beautiful.
Awesome,
I always speak
Amy,
on that.
Huh?
I always speak on that.
Yeah, it's one of the first things that comes into the session.
Yeah.
Oh, Jono sent me this. Because you're doing such amazing things, and it's great that you're really recognizing that.
Yeah. Well, Jono did put me in touch with you, basically, like in a sense. Crispy, obviously, my best friend, and husband, Crispy.
And you what? Sorry,
husband
and husband.
Is that what they say?
Gay husband.
Yeah, I know what husband means. But, so what if it was a female? What is it? Husband? I don't. Is it?
I actually haven't heard of a husband.
Yeah,
sorry,
have you not?
No.
Husband? What's the female?
Husband.
Yeah, is it?
Life. Life.
Okay. All right. So continue on.
So if it's your husband, what is Chris to you then?
I would say he's a good mate of mine. Yeah. He's actually a really nice guy.
He is.
He's an absolute.
So
amazing,
anyway, Crispy, he suggested you.
Yep.
And he is a massive advocate for mental health, and I was very fortunate, for him to see that I was in a state and to suggest that I needed some extra help.
You moved out to Crispy's house.
So I had our apartment.
Yes.
I had it, and I could not be on my own.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
At nighttime, I could not be on my own. However, every single day, I would go back to my home just to reset, do my skincare, do my makeup, pick up clothes. But every time there would be a point in the day where I feel like I need to go back. I need to be around people. I can't be alone in this moment. And he helped me through so much. But you also helped me through so much during that time. I guess let's start from that moment where I came to you and I was completely broken. What was that like?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if you actually remember, you actually originally reached out for Jono.
I did.
Is this for
content?
Remember?
Yeah.
My mental, what was it for? I'm trying to remember.
Just what you were going through at the same time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it definitely affected the both of you. And that showed me straight away what sort of person you were. You were going through so much and you were really concerned for Jono at the same time. And then there was the next contact going, oh, actually, no,
it's for me.
It's for me, which I thought was really sweet. I actually looked through our notes on that very first session because it was a few years ago now. So
what was it 2018? No. What?
2020.
2020.
2020?
I've got rid of my phone.
Like
2020, 21.
Or 2020.
No, it's coming up to 4 years.
2018
so.
we got switched off.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Do you know what? I actually looked at the date and I can't even remember. I know it was July. Anyway. And obviously you're in an incredibly heightened state, very distraught. And in that state, there's a lot of cognitions going on, a lot of thoughts, and my role initially, and for any therapist, is safety. So trying to help ground you, knowing that you had the support of Crispy. It's Crispy.
Crispy, yes.
I feel funny calling him Crispy. Chris, and it was also Moose at that time
Moose,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so nice for us to know, because I see you for 50 minutes once a week. So nice for us to know that there's support external to the
and during
sessions.
Those times outside of the 50 minutes, a lot can happen.
Definitely.
A lot can happen during that moment. And I mean, during those times, there have been times where I'm like, I wish my session was like in the next minute or the next hour or something, because I have so much to unpack and I'm going through such a hard time that you're like, I just want to speak to him right now.
I know. And part of the reason why it's not as frequent is because it has to be a really empowering process too. I mean, if things are going really bad, yes, I'm contactable. I was talking to someone just today that's it's not going too well for them in between sessions. But it has to be quite an empowering process. So for you to make sure you've got your safety support, a network, external, from me, we need to make sure we don't form a codependent relationship as such. And saying that, it's an incredibly special relationship, definitely. But yeah, initially it's all about safety. The more regulated you can be, like you said, you went back to your apartment that you're in now. It's all about grounding yourself. That's all about feeling, safe and content, and then going around people to feel safe again. So as soon as you're at more regulation we can do of your body, the more control you can have of your mind. Those initial sessions, there isn't a lot of questions, a lot of chat, because when you're that dysregulated, you can't think. Your brain's not set up in order to process things.
Emotions are flying around. You speak on emotion, right? And you don't have the clear picture at all. Did you ever feel that?
Yeah, I feel like, of course. Like, when I obviously broke up with Simone and I was in, Bondi, Penkerville, I think being there on my own, I think just remembering where I used to play with my daughter, we used to kind of have a good time. I think that really affected me like a lot. They got to the point that I couldn't be there anymore, that I had to move out, so definitely felt that moment. But, like obviously for me, like, I don't know, I wish I kind of asked for help, because I felt like I did that all on my own. And there was times that I felt, like obviously in dark places, stuff like that.
How did you get over those times?
I think they kind of still come back from time to time, you know what I mean? Yeah, they do come back from time to time. But it's something that I'm working on, I would advise anyone that is needing help, I would say, take it, and I think a lot of us guys, we kind of think we can be Superman and do stuff on our own. And I think, anyone that's listening, get some help.
Yeah, definitely. One of the main reasons I became a therapist was to help guys getting into therapy. I remember at a really young age at school hearing about suicide rates of guys. And like, I was brought up in New Zealand, and New Zealand and Australia had one of the worst rates on the friggin' planet. It's like, what the heck? We live in a beautiful place, And I'm so proud of how many no offense, sorry, but how many, sorry, I love you. But I'm just so proud of how many guys are actually reaching out for therapy. And, there's a saying like, it's not weak to speak, and we're trying to promote that out there. And there's a really great brand called Living that promotes that. And it's so true. It's just these younger people that are coming into therapy, far out. I admire them so much.
Well, I think my perspective on it is, I look at it as I'm like a being. I'm a personal brand. I'm a business in myself. So for my business, if I can relate it to that, I have a team. And for my business to thrive, I have a team on different things. So for myself, why wouldn't I have a team on different things? Like a team on my hair, I pay for that. A team on my training, which I do. But with all of those other things, why wouldn't I have the most important part, which is my mind, a team on my mind? And I don't look at it as it being weak. I look at it as I'm investing in the most important thing that does everything else, which is myself. So if I can pay for my hair, if I can pay for my skin, if I can pay for, looking great on the inside, if that's not looking great, nothing else matters.
Yeah, definitely.
At all.
Definitely.
I love how you didn't mention you pay for training.
Because I don't. Thankfully, I've created this business. I hope I'd have a discount code or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
But do you not agree? Do you not agree that you should have, if you can find value in, I guess, paying for your fitness, that's your outside,
it's
but also your in.
And there's so many support, with a lot of the government rebate stuff as well, in terms of mental health. Because I remember I was seeing someone that I'd need to go back to see someone. We spoke about this.
Yes, we did.
This week.
I can help you with that, Vicky. What
I mean? So there are a lot of support from the government to obviously, take action and actually, get help.
There's actually some incentives coming up, which I'm not overly political, but depending on what happens in the next election, there's actually going to be more support coming in mental health.
Because it's so important.
Yeah, so there's something that Labor's sorting out with the Greens, if that's how it goes in the next election, because there needs to be. Unfortunately, it's not improving. Unfortunately.
Well, I guess we started off with me coming to you at a very heightened state. The evolution of me, what would you, I guess, put that down to? Because your business is called Inner Strength.
Yep.
And I align with that so much because I feel like I found my inner strength.
Yeah.
But you always tell me I didn't find it. It was always in there.
Oh, without a doubt.
It was just about illuminating it.
Yeah. It's so cool because when I see people, even when they're in a heightened state, I don't know, I can still feel the essence of them. And they come in to see me because they want to fight. They want to recover, or to recover makes out you're broken, you're not. But, get through really, really tough times. And then when we did start talking about your family life, your upbringing, your relationship. You're an absolutely remarkable person, and what you've done for your mum and dad. Only child, and all sorts of things that came up through that. How we handle trauma is very much based on our upbringing. So, if you're brought up in a family environment where, you didn't actively speak about feelings and emotions and stuff like that, then if this happens, then you're not least likely to seek help.
And that's kind of what I was brought up in, right?
Yeah.
I'm happy to touch on this, but I obviously had a very beautiful family life. Both my parents are amazing. And I'd say I'm very privileged to live the way and be brought up the way that I was. But I guess you look at that and you're like, on the outside, you're like, okay, yeah, that's all good and well. You had a great life. You can't complain. But there are little things that do make you who you are, or make you react in certain ways, or make you become reactive to certain situations that you probably don't think are a part of that.
Yeah. Sometimes when people come in and obviously they're at one of their lowest points, it's quite hard to convince them that we actually have to go backwards and understand your upbringing, because it sounds like a bit of a cliche. Come to see a therapist, you're going to talk about your relationship with your mother and stuff like that. But when our brain is forming, at the age of about 4 years old, it actually sets up a gauge of how sensitive we're going to be on this planet for the rest of our lives. We can alter that through therapy and various other things. So it's important to work out, how safe from a child's perspective your upbringing was, how connected you were, especially to your mother, but also your father. And for me to work out and help you understand how you're going to get through this time in your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did a lot of work going backwards. Also talking about previous relationships and stuff like that too.
Absolutely.
So is that like kind of like when you get a new client, like what's the, like, obviously you kind of dibble and dabble trying to break them down, like not help them where they are at that point, and then what would be the next step? Like,
so the most important thing is the here and now. You can't talk about the past if they're in a heightened state now. There's sort of like 3 steps. First step is very much safety. And safety, we are wired for safety. Our brain is all about survival. So and that comes through probably 2 main things is validation. So feeling validated that what you're feeling, what you're going through is very legitimate, very, very, very real and makes sense. But also our relationship, because the more secure a relationship is with a therapist, the more relaxed and safe you can be. My job is to be as regulated as possible. Kills the social life a little bit because I have to be as regulated as possible. But it's amazing. Just my regulation can really help anyone that's sitting in front of me. The next step is, I'm not a big fan of the word processing, but it's really about understanding. So understanding your impact to things, what is going on with you, etc. And we gain a lot of cognitions from our upbringing. Some of them become core beliefs. Well, they do become core beliefs, and they can be quite negative at some of them. So actually understanding these cognitions and these core beliefs that will be affecting the trauma that you're going through. For example, there could be a safety cognition, and so we're having to deal with past experiences at the same time. We store memory in our body. We have neurons in our gut, behind our heart and stuff. So all the trauma that's in the past comes out in the present day when you're going through a traumatic experience like you two did.
Yeah. And I think there was a point where I went back to a very traumatic experience that was traumatic to me. And
what was that one?
It was where I was on the school bus.
Oh, the bus. I remember you telling me.
So I went back.
Everyone knew.
So I had a boyfriend at the time. He was like, we were like the, footballer. Let's take footballers. Is that something that needs to be looked in? Yeah.
Bit of a theme going on there.
Yeah.
Bit of a theme.
So he was a footballer. I was we went to the brother and sister school, and I met everyone at the bus stop, and everyone knew but me that he had cheated on me. And when I found out that everyone had hidden this or like knew and was talking to each other about it, but I didn't know, I feel like when that sort of thing happens, it's triggering for me. So I kind of want to be in control of situations and control of things that I probably necessarily don't have control of, but also know all the information. Like, what are they talking about? Why? Why is that? I think now I've let a lot of that go. Like, things that are out of my control, perfect. I don't need to think about it. But you told me to go back to that girl who was feeling like everyone around her was, hiding something from her, to hug her and say it's okay. And I did. And I felt that girl feel that support from me, which then, healed that little girl inside me.
Yeah, definitely. When we go through vulnerable times, we all have a wounded child or inner child, depending what you want to call it, that comes to the surface. So you're actually dealing with that as well as what's going on in the present day. That example you just said just then, I can remember that very well. I can remember your face. I can remember everything about that situation. But our brain doesn't make it easy for us to realize that when we're currently going through current trauma, like the breakdown of your relationship, our body goes, hey, I'll just grab all these examples from the past and just pile it up and make it even more traumatic for you.
Yeah.
And our brain doesn't make it easy to link back. So that's why another reason why we go backwards to say, hey, you're actually dealing with this trauma at the same time. And it makes it, because it's memory in our body that comes through. So I can remember that so well.
Yeah.
Do you
have a moment where, your younger self, that you could go back to and be like?
No, I think for me, like where I always kind of go towards is my dad never being happy in anything that I do. I think that for me, that's always kind of what repeats in my head all the time, always just saying I'm never good enough.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of,
So that's a brilliant example of a cognition that we develop from early childhood that we then take into our adult life. And it's so important to be aware of these cognitions, because that we believe them. They're in our head. We believe them. And we actually don't need that information in our current day. You're obviously very successful, doing very well. It's not very helpful at all. But, our wiring is set up for centuries ago. We're meant to know all this prior trauma for a safety perspective. But that type of cognition is exactly what we work on in therapy.
In therapy,
How do you think that I don't know, going through such a traumatic experience, have gotten to the confidence that I have today?
Yeah. One thing that I really admired about you is it was obviously very heightened. It was really tough, but you also didn't rush things. You gave yourself a lot of grace to feel and to go through it. And also the empathy that she had for you was really beautiful too. It wasn't, you didn't come in and go, well, I need this fix. I have to, you really went with it and you didn't fight against it. And then obviously the support of your friends and family around you really helped. But you did, part of the process is trying to help you bring forward the resilience that was already there. You talk about that little child, inner child, bringing her forward and to support you, regards to getting through all of this. But and your identity, we talk a lot about identity in therapy, because you were in a relationship and then you're not, and that was 14 years of your
at
life.
That time,
So part of the most traumatic part of it is all of a sudden you've got this role that's been shattered and gone, and it's not just about the past; it's the future, regards to dreams and aspirations and stuff like that. And what you've done, which I'm sure you absolutely admire too, is that you've created your own self, your own brand, your own businesses. I know obviously together, but also independently. So you've created, you're backing yourself, and the introspective awareness you've gained about yourself is only just helping you with where you're at now.
Yeah.
I must just add one thing. It's been quite an interesting process for me too, though, because you guys are obviously well known and you're in social media and all that stuff. It's been quite interesting for me, because the big part of therapy is authenticity. It's about trying to get to your true self, but then you have to go out in the public eye and everything's good, I'm all fine. It's you have to continue working, and it's been quite interesting watching you guys go through that process, because it must be hard sometimes.
Yeah. I think that comes from my childhood upbringing as well, in the sense of with my parents, and I've obviously touched on this before, it's that you don't show that anything's wrong. You get on with it, you do, and you continue as it was. And that's how I was brought up. You don't talk about it, you don't suffer, you don't do anything like that to show vulnerability, you are strong and you can get through it, and that is it. There's no other question about it. And I think for us, when we did break up, those initial moments and initial weeks, we were like, okay, we're going to keep this on the low and continue on doing what we're doing. And I think I used that like from my parents, like that from me was like, okay, we need to keep this on the low until we figure out what is going on.
Which is remarkable for both of you to be able to do that. I mean, an instinct would be to like just get away because you're trying to remove yourself from the trauma. Very much so. I was just thinking again, regards to roles too, when we're talking about your family and also your role in your marriage too. You were brought up to be a caretaker, a pleaser, which makes you a very empathetic, compassionate person. And part of our process was trying to get you to the point where actually I can center on me first and I can put myself first and assert myself and put boundaries in place. And you know, ironically, when you do that, things around you improve too. Your relationships improve. And that was a beautiful process I watched with you going, actually, I can do this for me, you know, I'm all good, you know. And sort of keeping that compassion, keeping that empathy, but putting it from the I perspective. It's quite, also use the word strength then. You know, I've got the strength, you know, all that stuff. There's a lot of words or sayings, you know, she'll be right, or it's the past is the past, all these, Australian type slang things that we say, which is so damaging for mental health because the past is extremely affecting your current day when you're in that trauma perspective. And we say it's strong and stoic to hold on to it and just get over it. No, it's strength to be able to talk about it. It's strength to own it because it's hard. It's really, really hard. So, you know, I do everything in my power to switch around the stereotypes with all of that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think bringing you on here today, obviously I wanted to share a little bit of my journey, but also give Jono a perspective on, you know, it's okay to feel these things. It's okay that I went through a fucking shit show. It was honestly a terrible emotional time for me, but it's okay because look at how I am today. And if there is anyone going through a terrible time or a tough period, it is that. It is exactly that. It is a tough period. Yeah. It is a dot in the scope of your life. And on the other side, you are always going to come out better for it because you are stronger because you went through that.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, without your resilience came through, but the strength you developed too because of what you went through and you came out the other end. And all the businesses, everything that you do, you know, all this purpose you've got in life is really beautiful. And your relationship, how would you describe it now compared to, you know, when you were back there prior to the breakup and stuff? Because from an external perspective, it seems strong. You know, there's a lot of support that goes between the two of you, which...
I think there's a lot of positive affirmations, you know, like we're kind of always there for one another. And like I say, like Amy's always the first person to say, are you okay? Like, are you well, Jono? You know, like there's not many people that actually do that. And like I was telling Amy before, I really respect their relationship a lot. And it's with Amy and Aaron. Like, you know, I think it's such a positive relationship and like very goals. And I wish I kind of, with my next partner, I wish I kind of have that, you know? Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, I guess, you know, touching on that as well, it's you coming in to a relationship, owning being your best self. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which you can definitely...
it takes time to find
time, energy, effort, being like you are the most important thing, John. Like literally. Yeah. You are the most important thing. None of this other shit matters unless you are okay.
Totally agree.
We are going to get emotional here.
Getting a bit teary there, man.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
And then that really then helps your relationship with your daughter too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been great, to be honest, with my daughter. I think that they're my best moments that I have. Priceless. I can't describe the feeling. And
they did say they were going to have tissues on set today, but
I can't see
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's all right. But things are really good, and I'm just at the stage at the moment. I'm just trying to find myself, and taking my time. And there are moments where I feel alone, but there's moments that I feel great. It's like just up and down, like right now. But I will, after hearing this and talking to yourself, and definitely seek some more help and go back to doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you've got a really beautiful little nuclear family.
We do. We have a beautiful modern family, as we like to call it.
Quite a modern family, yes. Very much
That's
so.
what I call it, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously with Aaron, don't forget Ollie the dog, and then Crispy's in there too.
Yeah, Crispy's in there most of the time.
In there.
Part of our team as
sure.
well. Very much family. But let's turn this gear around and go into our high-low Castano, which is a little segment we do.
Yeah.
And it's about the highs, the lows, and Castano means something random, interesting, or
that's
funny, or something that's happened to you during the week.
Like what's been
but I want to do something a little bit different. I want it to be about.
Always got to change it up, don't you?
I want to be.
Is this something you're teaching out, Steve?
No.
Is it?
I don't really know what. Yeah, you've heard this before, though.
I want to have it a little bit more geared toward mental health.
Okay.
So high, low of your mental this week, and something like a random thought or something funny that has happened. Yeah. So, I guess
I like that.
Yeah, I'll start.
Go on. Man.
My low for the week. I have been very busy, as you both know. And
I've never heard you say that before. That's quite a unique thing.
Every time I come into a session,
how are you? Been really busy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything more about
else?
you personally?
Yeah. But I do start the session with that all the time.
I've just done this, and this. Some people couldn't handle just doing one of those things over 6 months. Sorry.
So with that, I've been feeling. Well, I've had moments of anxiety, not full anxiety, but definitely feeling anxious about prioritizing how I'm going to do all of this. I've taken on a lot. Maybe I've bitten off a little bit more than I can chew.
Really?
And I need a bigger plate. But I think I've learned to, embrace that and take steps and put things in steps, and it is okay to feel that, but also just sit and be like, okay, how are you going to do this, and sort of figure that out. So that has been a low of mine maybe this week, taking on a lot.
You say it's a low, but it's also great for me to hear, because there's the conscious awareness that it's quite full on. I mean, you can feel it, but sometimes we push those emotions away. And I think that's been a great thing about our sessions is that you really are owning your state and knowing how you're going and monitoring it, and chilling out in the apartment on the weekend and hanging out well in Aaron if that's what you need to do to look after yourself. Because, you guys are damn busy. So, I guess you have a different perspective on that. Like, if you have a busy week, you want to go out and make sure you enjoy.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like to just go out, and because my job's, I guess, like super repetitive. I give a lot of energy out that I don't leave enough energy for myself. So I kind of like to go out and enjoy the weekend.
Be social. You like to be social, yeah. Whereas I'm quite the opposite, and we've obviously touched on how I need to be a little bit more social.
Yeah,
for sure.
Both of you have told me that.
It's written on the notes every time.
Yes.
It's at the top.
More
it's
social.
Like,
be more
about
social.
This. Be more social.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of times when you come in and go, oh, I did so-and-so. Okay,
and
good. Tick. Well done. Gold star.
Yeah. What's your low of the week? Would it be that?
No, I'd probably say for me, my low has been, how I really kind of suffer from imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm not, everything that I've achieved, everything that I get in my life, I don't deserve it. And that's definitely crossed my mind a few times this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does. Just everything's just I don't know, it's just been given to me, you know.
But it hasn't.
Yeah, I know. But
like you have worked so hard, and I think that's why not why, but I am such an advocate for you and what you have achieved, because I've been there at the days where you were packing shelves at Coles, and we're about to get a bit more emotional, but I've been there from the start. So that's why I am such an advocate for him, and want to see him do the best and have the best, because he deserves it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wish you believed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But that's been the life. Just to kind of put it out there. But what about yourself, Stephen? Brighten me up, make me smile.
Yeah.
Do I have to say something funny or
what's been your low moment this week?
Not having a session with me, because we're every fortnight now.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have a session this week.
No, don't worry. I'm sending you the bill for this one.
No, I was about to say that.
Come on.
This has been
I'm going to charge you double. I've got tears and I didn't even have to do anything here.
A couple session.
Yeah. I charged more for the tears. My best mate went back to Italy on Wednesday, so that was really tough. Yeah. I'm not sure if you met Andrea in the past at the gym, and he was here for 4 months, so that was really tough, because I knew it was coming and everything. And I don't know when he's going to come back. But the really great thing about this week, though, is I've been extremely busy with work.
Nice.
My supervisor's angry because I'm seeing too many people, and everyone's in a really great place. I mean, some of it's quite different stages, but it's been extremely rewarding, especially this week, that's been really
your
nice.
High.
That's my high.
That's your high
that was
and
my
low.
What was the bid?
Andrea left.
Yeah,
so high and low in the same.
That's it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We go.
So
amazing. So our highs.
Yeah.
I guess I felt way more confident in myself lately, taking on so much, knowing that I can handle a lot, and having the inner strength to do so. Just a little name drop there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I do have such a belief in myself to do things and take things on, and just having that clearer direction of what I want.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about
I think
you?
mine's been, I've actually had a lot more time like this week in terms of to focus on myself, like in terms of training wise. And I think, you always kind of get some, like a better version of me when I, because I'm like, so busy as well, like yourself, that I put myself last. And I feel like this week I've kind of been able to train a lot more. I've managed to do 2 sessions even when normally I don't get to train, and I think that's been great for me, to be honest. It's been good mentally for me. So it's been, I'd say that definitely is my high, and it puts me in a much better mood, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Because when I don't, then I just kind of just roll on with the day onto the next day, and the next day is the same, then the next day is the same.
Yeah, no, I think obviously I come into the gym in the mornings.
Yeah,
and
you can tell when I'm good.
Yeah, when I see you training, I'm like, perfect, this is great. He's giving that time to himself. He's good then.
Yeah.
But if I see you and you're like, you're down and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
Yeah, I know that's,
yeah.
He needs to train. He needs to have some time to himself.
It's obviously really great for your mental well-being.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Training
that.
is, and it links up very much so to mental health.
I mean, you're as much of a therapist as I am with your
Yeah,
clients. I'm
for
sure
sure.
they all confide in you.
Yeah. Don't give that many tears. I get more of more grunts and more screw you, man. But what about you? Interesting moment for the week. Anything funny can be funny
for the week.
Yeah,
I'm a therapist, so it's been a little bit morbid at times. A really beautiful thing. It's not funny and stuff, but there's just been a lot of support around me at the moment, which has been really, really sweet.
Awesome.
It's been really, really lovely. Last weekend I was on a podium at the Ivy, surrounded by young 20-year-olds watching Groove Armada.
Of course.
And that was
wow.
I haven't gone out to 3:00 in the morning for a very long time. So Yeah. So
okay, that was.
But
it
still worked really well this week.
Yeah.
By the way. Yeah. So I was actually quite impressed by that. It was such a fun night. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, interesting.
I think if we're continuing on the theme of this high-low Castano, I think knowing, or I guess reflecting on how I have grown as a person, I think there have been quite a lot of moments where, like, speaking on a panel in front of hundreds of people. In the past, I think I would have
is interesting.
I would have been so nervous. I wouldn't have opened my mouth. I wouldn't have taken that. I would have been like too nervous to even take that in and feel like I did a good job. Whereas now I sort of reflect back on those feelings. I'm like, I'm owning this, and I'm owning this space, and I'm owning how I'm feeling, and I'm literally stepping on there with confidence, and I feel great doing it.
One of the most beautiful things is when you do things like that, you have to stop and soak it up, because pride is the antidote to shame. It's the antidote for the lower parts of your life. So it's not just achieving, it's actually stopping and soaking it up. So maybe you need to get this guy to stop and soak it up a little bit more, because he's achieved a hell of a lot, because that has to soak in.
It does.
And it's been so beautiful in the sessions that we've had of late, because you're at the integration stage. It's, you're just doing, and when you come in with those sessions telling me everything you've achieved and done, it's just beautiful to hear, because it's, of everything you've done.
Yeah, it is. It's important to take a moment and take it all in, even if it's just a couple of minutes, just to look around and be like, holy shit, there are hundreds of people here wanting to hear me speak. Like, what? And then having that realization and being like, wow, I can fucking do this. Like, I love it. What
There's
about
a
you?
stereotype with mental coming to a therapist that all has to be doom and gloom about trauma. And one of the most important things is talking about what you've achieved, what you've done, because it's about boosting your self-worth, your self-esteem, and really noticing that. And because we've known each other for so many years and I know a lot about you, hopefully when you get my reaction, it really helps that too. Because I keep getting goosebumps. I mean, I don't control that. That's what I do. And I've told you that many a time in the session. And she nearly made me cry the other day, actually, too.
Wow.
Yeah, just about what you've done. Sorry.
Wow. Well, I think as well, we don't do that enough. I think even within Australia so much, there's, that whole tall poppy syndrome. So you kind of like dull your sparkle a little bit. Yep. If you're shining bright and you're doing amazing things, you feel like you shouldn't be. And that's such an issue, right? I feel like you can relate to that in the sense of like, when you're doing amazing things, you're gunning forward and you're really, putting yourself out there, you get put down or you get judged a lot. And that, I think for us, we've always had, some sort of backlash or something to sort of put us in the back seat or like put you back into your place.
I mean, you've got the tough thing about the tabloids and social media that, some people want to knock you down, which must be extremely hard. Must be really, really hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
What was your Castano for this week?
I think just like, I guess it would have been, I'd say we might like book the Maldives. We'll take my mum on the Maldives trip. Love like I don't really kind of do much stuff with family, so I'm doing a job with the St. Regis in the Maldives, and I get to bring someone with me. And normally I'd bring like a partner or something like that. So I'm taking my mum, and I think for her to kind of experience that with me, I think that's going to be priceless, and it's going to be like a memory that I'm going to have forever. So
absolutely, and
really cool.
How many times do people get to say, like, my parents will never
travel,
go to the Maldives
so
in their whole life. They will never.
Yeah.
Like, my dad's too sick and old to, I guess, travel, so he will never say that he goes to the Maldives in his lifetime. But for you to take your mum, that's a really beautiful thing. And also me and Aaron, we're going as,
and yes, she's in
you know.
We're
going as well. So
excited.
that's going to be an amazing
As long
trip.
as that doesn't clash with our next
Of
therapy
course.
session.
No.
Yes.
It's in June. I'll give you the dates.
Okay.
I'll
We'll
reschedule.
plan it forward. Oh man, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
I cannot wait, to be honest.
That'd be so
She's
cool.
been talking about it so much now, so I'm like super G'd. But the end to our
beautiful chat.
Yes.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you
so much for
seriously.
coming
I really
on.
appreciate
Thank you for the tears, the price of
I know.
tears. Thank you.
I know. I think we needed to feel that.
I know. It was
Definitely.
great.
That was really good.
I felt like this was a therapy session.
I feel better
Feel
for
good.
it.
And it's made me want to, take the next step for me personally, to ask for help. And I hope anyone that obviously listens to this, hope they do the same. And,
absolutely.
We'll put your Instagram and all that. I know you're busy, but
no.
you can always take more people on.
He's looking after me, guys.
I know. But
I bet I can help if I can't take
absolutely.
people on.
You can
refer on.
You've got referrals and
love
places that you can send people to get help as well, which is very important. So make sure you guys check Stephen out, Inner Strength, and we will see you in the next episode of No Business Being a Castano.